Okay, and next up is some new news. This is something that actually, maybe this was all a good thing that we lost our audio the first time, because Google is expanding phrase match to include broad match modifier traffic. And this comes from George Wynn over on Search Engine Land. And there was a bunch of chatter on Twitter that this was coming, and it has arrived. So
sadly,
a quick recap of the change within Google Ads. And I'll back up a little bit. So in case you don't know what broad modified match is it really dials in the broadness of a term. So if you have broad match, you might have something like a soft drink, right? Mm-hmm. And broad might say drink means slurp, or soft means, I don't know, I don't want to say anything weird, but it matches in a wide spectrum, and it takes a lot of liberties.
A lot.
Too many liberties, in my opinion. And when you put the modifier on, it's a little plus sign you put before that, and it limits the liberties that broad can take, and it kind of reins it in a little bit. And I see a lot of success with broad match modified, or saw a lot of success, but that is now going away. And so the advertisers will now have the opportunity to do broad match, phrase match, or exact match. Does that all make sense right now? Because I know it's a little bit of nuance, because broad match modified is technically broad. You following what I'm putting out?
I'm following. Yeah, I think, yeah.
So if you had modified broad match in your campaigns, they will be going away and essentially turning into phrase match. And what will happen is, if you only had one specific portion that was modified, so let's say that I had plus, that's the modifier, marketing podcast, it would have to stick to the marketing really tightly. And then podcast might turn into show, or radio,
audiobook,
physical book. It can turn into a lot of stuff. But in this case, moving forward, that will turn into phrase match. Mm-hmm. So if you have that in there, it is on the way out.
So this is coming soon, too. I know that the rumors started on Twitter, and then we saw official announcements start to roll out. So the email that I got from Google says that this is going to start happening on February 18th, which is about a week and a half away, that the phrase and broad match modified keywords will begin to match the same user queries, which are their words, not mine. So that's an interesting thing, because you still have two different keywords there. They're not merging them. They're still going to exist. So I guess leave it running and watch closely, see what happens, or pause one and not the other. I don't know. It'll be interesting, because they say that they're going to begin to start matching then. So who knows? But then I think by July, right, it's going to fully replace.
And just so we're clear as mud here, broad match modified is going away, mm-hmm. and phrase match is expanding.
Yes.
So not only should you not rely on broad match modified anymore, you will see performance changes with phrase match. And Google, from their article, said, to give you more control and better reach, we're bringing the best of broad match modifier into phrase match. As a result, phrase match will expand to cover additional broad match modifier traffic, while continuing to respect word order when it's important to the meaning.
Okay, but how is that more control if you're expanding something?
How could that be more control? Honestly, how could that be more control?
Right, they're two different things. I want two different things.
It is the definition of less control. Were you saying now phrase match doesn't care about word order? That's less control. That is objectively less control.
Yes. Which, by the way, Greg, I don't know if you know this, but you don't need to take any action to benefit from these updates.
Oh, fantastic.
That's an exact quote. That's an exact quote.
One of the additional elements that Google is requesting or recommending, let's say, is that when paired with smart bidding, these broad match signals can help you unlock new opportunities for your business. And they've got a case study in here. Mm-hmm. And let's play a game. What's missing from this case study, Jess?
Wait.
Okay?
I can't wait. I feel like I know the answer already, but you go ahead.
Online food delivery service JustEatTakeaway.com tested this combination and said, we've been surprised by the results of using broad match with smart bidding. We saw a 127% increase in conversions while hitting our goals.
Do I have to buzz in? I'm the only one
Yes,
here. But
Jess.
Bzzzt. How much did they spend?
Oh, we don't know. We have no idea. We have no idea.
I bet they raised their budget.
But maybe what if they spend 150% more? And they got 127% more conversions.
Maybe they're meeting their goals. Maybe one of their goals was to spend more, so they met it.
Oh, hey, raise your
We don't know.
budgets.
There's not a lot of context there at all. Thanks, Google.
In one element, and I'm going to be Mr. Brightside here today, Jess.
Are you?
Glenn Gabe had a picture of Lou Ferrigno, and it was me, and he said it was me when I learned about this match, which it was. It's fair to Glenn. Glenn's never wrong.
Pause. Who's Lou Ferrigno? Because I know I'm not the only one out there that doesn't know.
Oh, the old Incredible Hulk.
What?
Lou Ferrigno, the old...
That's Hulk Hogan.
That's very different. Hulk Hogan and the Incredible Hulk
Oh,
are very different.
Mark Ruffalo, the green guy.
But I mean, think about ask your parents who the Incredible Hulk is.
Okay.
There was Arnold and Lou, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lou Ferrigno.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poor Lou. I've never heard of him. Does he get to the
He's
chopper
doing fine.
eventually? Yeah.
He's a GIF that Glenn's sending to me, so he's doing fine. Okay, and so one thing of note, and this is Mr. Brightside here. In addition, keyword matching is now more predictable. An exact match keyword that is identical to a query is now always preferred as long as it is eligible to match. So that's one little element that if you've got exact match and phrase match or broad, as long as it's eligible to match, which means you have to check your ads and check your keywords and make sure that everything's fine, that according to Google, it is now always preferred, the exact match version. So, Jess, what are your thoughts?
And I don't like when Google tries to position something as helping me and giving me more control when they're actually taking away my control. But personal feelings aside, just so everyone knows the facts, what is happening is beginning February 18th, Broad Match Modify keywords will begin matching the same user queries as your phrase match keywords. You don't need to do anything. You can leave them there. It's fine, whatever. But they did say come July, and they didn't give an exact date, but I'm sure we will hear about it, talk about it more on this show, so please listen. Then at that point, whatever day in July that they make this change, you will no longer be able to create Broad Match Modify keywords. So I don't know why you'd be creating more now since it's going to behave the same as phrase match anyway, but if you do need to for some reason, you still can until July, but it's not going to do anything different than your phrase match. So that's the big thing here.
Yeah, and one final parting thought on this. Everybody's saying we saw this coming, and clearly we did. At some point, it's going to be consolidated again. At some point, it's going to be consolidated again, and it's going to be 2030, and we're not going to have keywords. And that's what it's going to be, and we all know that's coming. It still doesn't mean that we can't, that it's not the right thing to do. If I was a Googler and I had to ensure profitability down the road in 5 years, I would be looking at trying to fix the horrific close variant matching and some of the data loss and things like that. I understand everything's short term now, and it makes sense. I mean, this change actually makes sense currently because of close variants, right? Close variants match anything under the sun. Phrase match isn't phrase match. Exact match isn't exact match. And why have another match type in there? That doesn't mean it's the right way to operate, but I'm saying it makes sense to get rid of this. Do I like it? No, because broad match is near useless unless you use smart bidding like this. But you can't even get any information because you don't see the search query data. So you can't even use it to prospect well anymore.
That's a good point.
And then the close variant matching has gone completely off the rails bonkers, so much so that, some people could put 2 and 2 together saying the close match isn't close anymore, and now we don't show search query data, and you just have to trust the process. So I understand and I get why, and it actually does make sense to try to condense some things, but at the core portion of this, you can still give people more control. But that's not the way it's going, and I understand it. It's still not the way I would operate if I cared about the longevity and having a ad platform that nobody could compete with and nobody could touch.
Yeah.
But that's not what they're doing anymore.
No, it'll be interesting to see if Microsoft does or doesn't go along these lines and make a similar change or not later on the line, because they're starting to differ a little bit from what they do with Google. So we shall see.
Like what you saw? Of course you did. If you're looking for more, Marketing O'Clock releases new episodes every Friday with the digital marketing news of the week. You can subscribe wherever you consume your podcasts, or click to watch the full episode, the next news story, or read all the articles from the show.